So when you're qualifying,
and then the next run, which is when we had the crankshaft fail.
Oh.
I actually, I treed Tony Schumacher. I had a better reaction time. And that was, my second run. So, the highlight of the weekend was I treed Tony Schumacher.
That's pretty good because I don't follow NHRA drag racing, and I know who Tony Schumacher is.
Tony Schumacher, I remember when I was a kid, he was one of my biggest heroes out there. Very, he inspired me a lot to pursue the dream and get out there. And but then, when the crankshaft went, the NHRA, had a side-by picture of my car, when it was when it was on fire, and on page 7 of the NHRA magazine. So the highlight of the weekend was I treated Tony Schumacher, but the engine fire obviously wasn't the way how you would want to make a highlight reel.
But hey, at least you have a good memory from that fireball. That's the day I treat Schumacher. I see we had a comment here. I want to ask him, see if he knows. Jeff Curcio, why are they called funny cars?
I mean, the reason why I know they called them funny cars was kind of like a gimmick that surrounded the type of car back in the 1960s. Okay. I don't know exactly for sure why they called them funny cars, but it has something to do with a little gimmick that was around the car class back in the 1960s.
Okay. Cool. Ray Stevens, DC, I'll show you pictures of the insides of them. Yes, please. I would love to see an inside of that.
But still, nonetheless, I learned a lot that weekend. It was my debut. I want to thank, Gary Leverage, the owner of the Leverage Racing Team, very much for allowing me to make my debut and, operate his equipment. And still working with him to this day to get out there and kick ass and take names. It's Gary and I get along really well, and almost every common interest that we have, it aligns, like vintage video games, modern video games, and I can go on for all the other common interests that him and I have. It's almost freaky.
NASCAR 2005. That's
Chase for the Cup, Hero Villain.
Yes, that's the best NASCAR game that's ever come out.
Oh, totally. I agree with you 100%.
Oh, but yeah. Here, so topic 3 here. Yeah, so this topic is just kind of talking to Jake here about how his operation or how he works and how he got into doing Top Fuel, because I know we got a question here that we'll get to that kind of, because to me it's there's a lot of work, a lot of money that goes into it for 3 seconds, or was it 3.7?
Yeah, 3.8.
Yeah, 3.8 or whatever. So how did you even get hooked up to what you're doing now?
Well, it started, when I was walking the pits in 2019. I was looking for, a place to go, a place where I can learn, and I was talking with Tony Zizzo.
Great guy.
I kind of told him, it's I want to drive Top Fuel one day. I want to learn how to work on them, and he said to me, it's hey, give me your number, I'll give you mine, and I'll call you after the event. And the Thursday after the event, he called me, and he said to me, if you want to do this, and if you want to learn how to work on them, you should probably hang out with us and get to, know what you're getting yourself into. It's because if you are serious about getting your Top Fuel license, you should know the ins and outs of a car before you get into it.
And that's a good point, because anyone that comes up to me is how do I get into it? It's just go in the pits, find the division you want to race with, and just start talking to those people, because everyone's looking for help. And then there's, in sprint car racing, I'm sure in drag racing too, there's a lot of junk out there for sale too. So you might be oh, this is a great deal, and then you get it, and then you have someone experienced come and they're well, it's garbage. So just hanging out with those people and just getting the information and knowledge really helps the new guy, such as yourself, and myself too, when we did that. So sorry to derail there, but that's a really good point of anyone that's wanting to get into any kind of racing, go to the track, walk the pits.
Yep, and if there's when people open their door to you, they want to teach you, they want to share their knowledge with you, and I went from a guy who walked the ropes, I don't come from money. Like, my parents were, middle class. My mother's an accountant, my father's an electrician. I run heavy equipment for a living. So I didn't, have any, backing from family friends going into it or from the family either. It was just, I socked my money away for a nitro testing session. I went through Frank Holly's drag racing school to get the prerequisite licenses I needed, such as Super Comp and Top Dragster, before I made the jump into a fuel car. And I only, went forward with trying the top fuel car, based on a professional opinion where Frank Holly said I shouldn't have a problem. And he said to me, he's like, if Del Worsham, asked me about you, he's like, hey, like, what do you think of Jacob? How do you think he'll do? He's like, let Jacob try your car. He shouldn't have a problem. So I wanted him to tell me, no, I don't think you can handle it, just as much as I wanted him to tell me yes. It's because at that time I would have finally had some closure. But I got my license. I took the Frank Holly's Top Dragster program in March of 2021, and the following month in April, after the 4-wide event, I called Jeff Arend, who works with Del Worsham on licensing, and and I asked him if he knew what Del's schedule was, and he's like, yeah, let me give him a call, and he'll give you a call. So after I talked to Jeff and kind of asked that first question to get something rolling, I got a phone call from Del about 5 minutes later. He's like, hey, do you want to test in Vegas? And I'm like, sure.
Let me think about that for 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's kind of interesting. I never would imagine you'd have to I mean, to get a license. That's essentially what I'm getting at. But I guess with the amount of power you're running, you want to make sure that someone knows what they're doing behind the wheel of a drag racing car.
I mean, a quote that I've heard is, a lot of people talk about driving top fuel, but very few come up with, the money to test, and even less can actually drive or put one down the track.
Yeah. I mean, with sprint
and I say that, because it's how I read it. It's those aren't my words. Those, that came from somebody who I hold, a lot of respect towards, and it's the biggest thing about nitro. This is just my perspective on being introduced to one. As much I want to pick your brain about what it's like driving one of those sprint cars, but I only have 10 runs on the top fuel car, so I have a lot to learn still. But the biggest things that stand out to me with me starting out in the sport is one is the worst enemy of getting into that car. It isn't the car, it's you. You are your own worst enemy. And the biggest thing that you have to worry about is your fight, flight, or freeze reflex.
Oh, yeah.
If you fight it too hard, you're gonna go towards the wall, you're gonna go towards the center line, or you're gonna hit the wall, or you're gonna hit the wall on the other side of the track. If you flight, you're going to get out of the throttle, and depending on how many times you do that, you may spend more and more and more and more money making those extra runs. It's because that nitro and those parts aren't going to pay for themselves. And if you freeze, obviously you're going to mash the pedal, and your body isn't going to do anything, and the car's just a blind dart at that point. So it's I would say when it comes to getting into a car like that will be the biggest thing to worry about.
Have you ever got yourself in those 10 runs into a situation where you're like, uh-oh? Or have your runs gone pretty smooth right now? Which would be good. Which would be really good. Right?
It was when the crankshaft went, it happened so quick I couldn't react to it.
Okay.
It gave me no warning indication, no nothing. There was no way I would have been able to react to it. No, nothing. It just went. When I was in Gainesville, I heard, and this was the final qualifying session of the event, the motor popped, the blower belt came off, and I was out of the throttle at around 800 foot, and the team owner and I came to a mutual agreement where I got out of the throttle because I heard a pop.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, so all right, because like I feel you guys are nuts. There's only really two people that when people say sprint car drivers are nuts, I'm like, no, there's two more, and that's motocross and drag racers. Like,
I'll tell you what, those rallycross guys.
those guys are a different breed.
They are. That's exact phrase that I say every time. Like, we've talked about it. I'm like, I always say that. I'm like, those guys, they're a different breed, man. That's like, they don't know. They're just like, hey, the guy next to you is going to read you off some instructions. Send it.
Yeah.
Like,
based on what he's telling you, go.
Yeah.
I left in 600 yards. Hard right, hard left, hard right. It's like,
right, and it's like, but I think it's like crazy in a different way. Like, I'll tell you what, that's just crazy. But then also on the flip side of it, like what you guys do, the amount of power sitting right behind you, man, that's gotta be pretty eye-opening to sit there.
And
Ray Stevens here, crankshaft failed at well over 200 miles an hour.
The car was probably at around 500, 550 foot when the crank went, so the car was probably doing every bit of 230, 240.
Whew.
Maybe faster.
No, all I want to do is just stop, man. Oh, or I take that back too. As in motocross, but also super bikes, Isle of Man.
Oh yeah, Isle of Man TT.
No,
dude,
no way.
I would say that's
probably, that's nuts.
Like, people legit die.
That's what Nathan's pointing to is Isle of Man.
Like, I'm like down here,
and sprint cars are like underneath a little bit more. Like,
dude, like, how can you say that your racing is up there? People die in that race, like
every year.
And multiple people every year.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
I want to go there. Like, I don't like flying. I hate flying, but like that would probably be like where I'd be like, okay.
You ever seen like the videos of the guys who are just sitting on the road?
Oh yeah,
and,
like, they're ripping
like
far from the guy.
It's crazy.
So I'm gonna butcher this, and we're getting off topic. So I'm sorry, but like,
not really. We talk about everything racing, right?
Yeah, we do. Two wheels, yeah. I forgot the guy's name, but he just broke the lap record for the ILTT, one lap. And dude, there's like a couple minutes that I was sweating watching because like, I mean, just like this far from one wall goes out to this other, and I'm like, man, this guy's committed.
The
like
speed that they're going, like.
Every time I watch a video about Isle of Man, I have horrible anxiety.
Yeah. You get
the distance,
yeah.
The distance and like how long it takes them, like that's insane.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, my fingernails, even though I bite the absolute crap out of them, like I got my whole life. But every time I watch a video like that, it's like all of them are like 100% shorter.
Yeah, and you're just like, well, the video's 7 minutes, so he must live. Right? Or 12 minutes. You're like, he's still going. They're like, oh man.
And Godspeed, God bless, and may God rest the souls of all those brave men that have unfortunately lost their lives trying to tackle that course.
I mean, in hindsight, right? Like, if any one of us here could pick the way we'd want to die, like I would want to die in a sprint car, like lights out. Like, and I know Ashley, I'm sorry, babe, but like she doesn't want to hear that. But like, if I could pick,
I'm in my bed and not knowing a thing about it.
Yeah, that's me. That's you.
I'll take that.
No, because like, I mean, I've only had like one or two. Not that I've ever thought like going into a crash like I'm gonna die, but like just how fast it happens, you like don't even have like a tenth of a second to think about what's gonna, like, you might get, oh, this is gonna, and then you're done. You're getting out of the car, right? And it's like, well, that's the way I want to go. But yeah, wow, so like those Isle of Men, like they probably never saw it coming. Like that's the way just doing what you love to do, and that's how everyone. Yeah, see, actually, I don't like that. I knew it.
Well,
I'm sorry.
From a one morbid subject to a different subject.
Yeah,
we had some people that were really interested to know about the parachute. Like, is it hard to repack them? Like, how many uses can you get out of them? Like, what They want to know about the parachutes.
Yeah, the parachutes, as long as you follow, same technique of refold them every time, it's repacking them as a 2-man job. It's because the reason why it's a 2-man job is because of the pilot chute, which is that, the mini parachute with that big spring on the back. That's why it's a 2-man job.
Yeah.
There's one person that needs to, hold the pilot spring down so the other individual can fold the flaps from the parachute bags over the pilot chute and kind of fold them, the way we fold it is, let me see, it's, the top flap, then the bottom one, then the right and the left. And you kind of have to pull them towards, towards the center of the pack, with which is basically, just a small tether rope,
Right.
or a tie string. And after you, and then you tie the loop of the pilot chute in with, the parachute cables, and then a safety pin. Which is what prevents the chutes from deploying in the event where you're rolling the car up to the water box or the staging lanes, and prevents the parachute from coming out. But always before you make that run, you have to make sure that those safety pins are pulled out.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, do you pack your own chute, or do you have someone else pack it?
I work with another crew member with packing mine.
Okay, so you do have your hands.
Yep.
And I would not trust.
Yeah, usually I'm the one that always pushes the pilot chute in because that's the more physically demanding job.
Okay.
So, it's just stand on your tippy toes and throw all your body weight into that pilot chute, and that thing won't go anywhere.
Wow.
How do you know when to replace it? Do you guys do you count how many times they're used, or is it just like, it looks like there's a hole starting to form, time to replace it?
That, and the parachutes last long enough. I believe the parachutes have an SFI life expectancy. Like, I'm not exactly sure, but I would imagine the parachutes are critical to the point where it's like a helmet or a neck restraint where they can only be so many years old before they would be ineligible for use.
Now,
I'm not exactly sure about that.
Is there like a backup if that parachute fails to deploy? Or you just cross your fingers and hope you're okay?
Always want the parachutes to come out. You always want them to come out.
So there's only one?
No, 2 chutes. There's
there are
two
two.
parachutes on the top of the car.
Okay. But I mean, I guess so if they don't deploy, there's
Do whatever you can.
to stop.
Do whatever you can.
Yeah.
Because your
just
brakes
grab on that brake and
Yeah.
do whatever you can to bring that car to a stop, and that's the only thing that'll be going through your mind.
Because the brakes do work pretty good, they just don't work as good with the parachute.
I mean, those are carbon fiber rotors, so the hotter they get, the better they work.
Gotcha. Okay.
Jeez.
Okay.
Cool.
What other questions do we have? Because I know there's a good one in there.
There is a good one in there. Maybe we'll save that one for the last.
Yeah, Okay.
What are your hobbies outside of the track?
My hobbies outside of the track, it's I'm a video gamer, for both modern gaming and vintage gaming. I got an Alienware laptop at home that I spent a lot more money on it than I wanted to, but
I'm sure
at least I could take all my games with me everywhere.
What is it, like
the Area 51?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good game.
Yeah, the good gaming laptop. Yeah, it was. Other than that, I am an avid collector of vinyl records, antique clocks, and typewriters.
Okay, cool.
Typewriters. That one's different.
Yeah.
That one's different.
I just saw this video. This guy's like, my professor outlawed laptops in the class.
Oh yeah, he brought a typewriter. Yeah, classic college lecture prank. I mean, like, I write with them. Like, I'm writing a couple of manuscripts right now just to, kill spare time, and it's there's something therapeutic about writing. It's it's a great relief of stress, because it occupies your thoughts and interests, when you're putting something down. And, to me, it's a great way to relieve stress, and it's a good coping mechanism to, work with, bouts of anxiety and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a great way to deal with that.
Yeah. I've written before. I don't really write that much, but, like, when I speed skated, like, a coach would always have us write a journal or whatever, like, how we're feeling and stuff. And it's kind of, I mean, I got rid of them now, but, like, before I got rid of them, I read them, like, that's really weird. Like, I didn't know I thought like that. Like, I felt like this in this moment where it's like, well, yeah. yeah, so I get, writing is pretty good for stress, yeah. What other questions do we got? I know. I want that
question.
He knows it's coming too,
know,
so
right?
that's the best part.
Okay. We'll get to the question from an avid writer in. What is the point?
What is the point of Top Fuel?
Yeah. What is the point of Top Fuel Dragsters?
There is no point. It's because it's the grossest, rawest, most insane display of horsepower that humanity can provide. Because we're talking about a 500 cubic inch V8 that burns more fuel per second at wide open throttle than a 747 that's fully loaded at full tilt. So what is the point of that? I don't know, but it's entertaining.
To do it.
It's just a flex.
Yeah.
It's a flex.
I'm not sure if it's a flex. It's because there's absolutely no point to
because
it.
We can.
Yeah, that's it. It's because we can.
Yeah. The game is called Highside or Lowside. So you are the guest, so you get to pick between questions 1 and 6 that I'll ask you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, because I did some research and they're all on Top Fuel. And I think I only heard one of the answers said, so I was like, oh, okay, good, because I was a little worried that you guys were going to go through like everything, and I'm like, oh, well, everyone's going to know the answer already. So, Jake, you're going to pick between 1 and 6. I'll read you that question. The answer is a number. You just have to give me the best guess that you can. If you don't know it,
so the answer is a number?
Is a number.
Okay.
Yep. And then, excuse me, if you get it right, you get 2 points. If you get it wrong, Brandon can steal if he wants, and all he has to say is if the number is higher or lower than the number you've given. But if he gets it wrong, he loses a point. Okay.
Let's do it.
And then we're going to play back and forth. So, I got a notebook for this time. Because last time I was having a tough problem. All right. 1 through 6, Jake.
5.
How many seconds does it take a Top Fuel dragster to get to 100 miles per hour?
0.8.
That is 2 points. 0.8.
I mean, he would know that. He would know that.
Wow.
I would have just said less than a second.
Oh, man. Yeah, less than a second. Fast as Brandon. 1 through 4 or 6?
2.
2. How many gallons of fuel does a Top Fuel dragster burn in one run?
In one run?
In one run.
Oh my gosh.
This is according to Google, so these answers could be wrong, but I try to do my best to weed out the Wikipedia stuff.
Am I allowed to ask one question?
What?
How long does it typically take from start to finish?
From the start up to shut off?
Yeah.
Start up to shut off.
I mean, it should say from green to end.
Green to end? From green to end, you're looking at anywhere between 4.1 to 3.6.
Okay.
From start up to shut off, you're looking at around 90 seconds.
Okay. So, let's see. And your online is just from start to finish? Or in the full run?
That's just what I found.
I would assume that they're. I mean, if I know Google and the the algorithms of it, they're asking like how much does it burn in a pass?
In a pass, okay.
Which is green light to shut off. So that's how I'm going to answer it.
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, all I can do is basic math, which is you said it goes through like a gallon a second or something like that. That was like 12.
Don't give him any hints. Don't give him any hints.
I'm not telling you anything.
I got your question.
Let's go for like 30 gallons. I don't know.
30
probably
gallons.
Really that's higher. I'm sure.
That is wrong.
Yeah.
That is wrong. High side or low side?
So you think it's lower than that?
Yeah, low side.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and it is lower. What would it be?
12.
12. Yeah.
12. Okay, Google said 15.
See, I was doing different.
So
yeah, from green light to shut off, that's roughly.
I had
about
the right
12
number.
gallons.
I was using,
from
which
start
was
up
12.
and burn out, back up,
Yeah.
and then the run itself, it's like 14 to 15.
14. Okay.
So I was gonna say I remember the number 12, but I just did. I was trying to get the math wrong.
I don't trust Google as much.
What are you talking about? It's the all-knowing. It's the almighty power.
I know.
I always trust the internet. Come on, everybody knows that.
Yeah, everybody knows that everything on the internet's true.
What Wikipedia says is fact.
It is. because anybody at any time in the world can put what they know about the subject.
Yep. It's amazing. That's an office reference.
It's office, yeah. All right.
And with me, being surrounded by a couple of Office fanboys, I'm an uncultured swine.
Yeah. Great way of putting it. All right, Jake, 1, 3, 4, or 6?
1.
1. Okay, I was hoping you were gonna get this one because you might be able to tell me if this is wrong or not.
Okay.
What is the fastest top fuel run in history, miles per hour?
338 I believe it's 338.67.
Wow. I mean, I should have said to the nearest
Mile per hour.
I should have said. I mean, yeah, it's 338.9.
Oh yeah, so just a couple of
Yeah.
tenths off.
But yeah, I should have said. Well, I said mile per hour.
That would count.
Yeah, that's gonna count.
That's gonna
Yeah.
count.
Man, he's 2 for 2 right now.
That's gotta count.
All right, Brandon.
3.
3. I feel bad for you that you grabbed this
gosh.
one.
Can I change it?
Oh, is that the
Can I
hard
change
one?
it?
Let him change it.
Let me change it.
I already- okay.
Give me a chance.
Okay.
Give me 6.
I'll take
I'll
3.
take 6.
You'll take 6. What year did the NHRA shorten the track from 1,320 foot to 1,000 feet?
You sure this wasn't the hard one?
No, this one's not that hard. The other one,
The other one would be worse.
yeah. We're talking a year. The other one is split in atoms.
Oh gosh. What year? Oh gosh. I wouldn't even know. 1995? I don't know.
I'd be wrong. Jake.
Highside.
Highside.
2008.
2008.
Ah.
Yes. So, alrighty. Jake, do you want to take 3?
I will.
Okay. What is the average reaction time record?
The average reaction time record.
Now I know there's controversy, or I heard I was reading some stuff about this.
Jeez. I would imagine it's probably in the. This is just a number I'm going to pull out of my butt.
Hey, wait, before you answer. To the nearest 100th.
To the nearest 100th.
Yeah, I told you we were splitting atoms.
56.
So I found it's wrong.
It's
Highside or Lowside?
Low.
That would be correct. It was lower. What I found was... Oh, you broke even.
There we go.
0.039. Brandon,
Last question. Okay.
Number 4. How many... Now, I know this is up for... Again, this is Google, what I found on Google, okay?
The Google.
How many horsepower is a top fuel dragster? And we're talking whole horsepower. Not we're not going half horsepower and 3/4 and all that stuff.
Oh man. See, I'm like in my head. I'm trying to go through like.
I will tell you it's in the thousands.
Yeah, I know that much. I have cars that are over 1,000. Man, I'm sure this is probably low. I'm only going with stuff that I've seen. I don't know, maybe like. I feel like I'm gonna be way off, but like let's go with like 5,000 horsepower.
Highside or Lowside?
High. 11.
11,000.
See, my initial thought was to say 10.
Yeah, and I see, the number 12 being, pushed around every once in a while.
I thought about that.
It's like, I don't know, it's how much horsepower is a top fuel dragster? Enough.
Enough. Wow. So the total score is Jake 6, Brandon 0. Hey, but at least you broke even.
0, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll
you
take it.
broke even.
I'll take it.